tonight.
Join me right here on the Mall, Washington, D.C. for the Prayer March 2020.
We talk with Franklin Graham about an upcoming prayer march in the nation's capital and more. Plus, a look at the American economy and what those new presidential executive orders might mean for recovery.
Families of maybe in total 10 kids or so are getting together and they're sort of pooling their resources.
And we'll explain the growing trend of learning pods. All this and more tonight on Faith Nation. Joe Biden names his running mate. Welcome to Faith Nation. I'm Ben Kennedy. John and Jenna have the evening off. After months of speculation, Joe Biden decided on California Senator Kamala Harris as a running mate. His choice is one for the history books. Harris is the first black woman to be named a major party ticket. Senator Harris was once a frontrunner for the Democratic presidential nomination, but quickly became the rumored pick as the vice presidential hopeful once she dropped out of the race. Chief political analyst David Brody joins us now. David, first off, your reaction. Are you surprised with this pick, and how do you think Biden is going to do with Harris?
Well, Ben, she was expected to get the choice, the slot all along. So there's not too much of a surprise here. We knew it was going to be a female. We most likely knew it was going to be an African-American female. And she fits both of those bills. She's also the first South Asian American as well in history to be nominated for vice president. So a double historical effect here. It's a big deal, and it is historic, and that's a good thing for Joe Biden. And look, some other positives on this pick. You got to understand that Kamala Harris has run quite a few times before for state-run office. So she's won across the state. She's been vetted to a degree. She'll be vetted a lot more. But overall, a pretty solid pick by Joe Biden.
How do you think the Trump campaign will react?
Well, I think what you're going to see is they're going to try to figure out a way to divide Kamala Harris and Joe Biden within the African-American community. If you remember back to the debates in 2016, Kamala Harris came pretty strong against Joe Biden when she said that he wasn't tough on opposing busing. But it's not just that. I mean, she was pretty critical about how he basically treated the African-American community during his time as senator. So my guess is they're going to have, they're going to try to figure out a way to put her words against what he has done. And hopefully, in their view, it'll suppress some of the African-American vote, which is critical for the Democrats in the fall. And I think that's probably a big storyline to watch come November.
And David, real quick, we reported recently on some movement in the evangelical middle, and we know evangelical voters are very important to whoever wins in November. How do you think these voters will respond to the pick?
Well, look, I think we're gonna see. I mean, look, she runs the gamut. You know, she married a Jewish man. She grew up in both Hinduism culture and Christianity culture. She's got a lot to talk about, which we're going to do in the next week or two for sure.
All right, David Brody, thank you so much.
You bet.
Evangelist Franklin Graham will lead a prayer march here in Washington, D.C. next month. He is calling on Christians from across America to seek God's help for the nation. The event is called Prayer March 2020. Graham says it'll be an event focused on prayer, not protesting, and that it's not a political rally or supporting a candidate or a political party ahead of November's election. And joining us now is Franklin Graham. Hello, sir.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being with us. Franklin, what message do you plan to share in the nation's capital on September 26th?
You know, I think for so many people that we are so discouraged at what's happening in our country. What we're seeing in Portland, what we're seeing in Seattle, the defunding of the police departments across the country by many of the city council. It's frightening. And the anarchy that is being produced, and people just, I think for many people, they feel, what can we do? Our nation is unraveling, and I want to encourage people that our hope is not politics. Our hope is not Republican or Democrat or independent. Our hope is in God. And I'm asking people to join me on the 26th of September in Washington on the Mall at the Lincoln Memorial at 12 noon. And let's do a prayer march. go from one end of the mall to the other, praying as we go. All of us participate. There's not going to be any special music. There's not going to be a special speakers. It's just all of us marching together, participating together, praying for our nation, that God would turn the hearts of our politicians and that He would give wisdom and direction to our leaders. Again, I believe this is the only hope. And this may be the most critical election of our lifetime. So much is at stake. And again, I think only God can change this and turn it around.
You just made the announcement on Saturday. Are you expecting a pretty big turnout? Are we talking about thousands, tens of thousands?
It doesn't matter whether it's hundreds or thousands or 100,000. It's just all of us coming together and doing this in Jesus' name and taking a stand. I think by marching, we're taking a stand for God and for His standards, and we're letting our politicians know that we care and we believe in God, and we're going to put our faith and trust in Him. And I just hope people will come from all over the country and participate in this. So check our website. You can go to billygraham.org and click on 2020 Prayer March and get the details. We'll be updating this every few days with new information. But it's going to be, again, starting at noon and just marching the whole mall, one end to the other.
Talk to us about the return. National and Global Day of Prayer and Repentance. What is the focus of that movement?
Yeah, that's a great, Jonathan Kahn, they're doing a great job. They're going to be on the mall that day. And so they've got speakers and they've got other things lined up. And so we certainly support them and encourage people to be a part of that. And what we're doing by going from 12 noon to 2 o'clock, that's more or less the lunch hour. And so we hope all the folks at the return will come join us, and then we'll be through and they can be back in time to finish their program. But it's something all of us can do together and support one another. And I certainly support them.
Liberty University announced an interim president. What has been your reaction to Jerry Falwell's leave of absence?
Well, I'm very saddened by what has occurred. I certainly don't support Jerry Falwell's actions that he's taken. I think he made the right decision in stepping down. Jerry Prevost, who is the interim president, I know him very well, one of my closest friends. And I know the university is going to be in good hands as a good board of directors, and we just pray for Jerry Jr., his wife and family, that God will bring them through this storm they find themselves in, and that the university will come through this. This is one of the largest universities in the country, period. And their enrollment this year is the highest it's ever been. Their endowment is one of the largest endowments in the country. And I just believe that there's some great things ahead for this school. And I know that Jerry Prevost will do his best to make sure that this school continues to build champions for Christ for another generation.
Franklin, thank you again for your time. We really do appreciate it here at CBN. Well, President Trump is remaining hopeful for a strong third quarter economic rebound. During a briefing at the White House Monday, the president said there's no reason the economy can't grow at a 20% pace in the third quarter, saying a capital gain tax would help create new jobs and an income tax cut would help hurting middle-class families. The president is saying for more details on a tax cut plan would be coming from the White House in the next few weeks or so, but they will be different than the executive order from the president this weekend. In 2000, Stephen Moore joins us now. Hi, Steve.
Hi.
Well, Steve, what impact do you think the president's executive orders will have on the economy?
Well, obviously, I think the payroll tax is going to be hugely positive. It was Phil Kerpen and I who wrote this piece about 10 days ago in the Wall Street Journal outlining how Trump could get out of this box on the stimulus plan, and he's done it quite effectively. He took our advice and unilaterally suspended the payroll tax for the rest of the year. That's going to mean a 7.5% pay raise to all salaried employees in the United States. And that means me and you and everybody watching the show who has a job will get an increase in their paycheck. So retroactive to August 1st. So I think that will be very positive development. It encourages working, it encourages hiring, and it puts more money into the hands of the people who will go out and spend it. It means Main Street USA.
Steve, let's say worst case scenario and lawmakers cannot come to an agreement. What impact would that have on the economy without another round of coronavirus relief?
We don't need more government spending. Government spending, it has become a virus in and of itself. You know, we've already spent $2.5 trillion. That's trillion. Remember, $1 trillion is $1 million on the first 4 rounds of coronavirus relief. Spending $3 trillion more, like Nancy Pelosi has proposed doing and passed through the House, would be catastrophic for our country. So I think Trump was right to say, look, we've got our stimulus. It's the payroll tax cut. If you want more aid and you want to talk about some more specific items, for example, providing vouchers for parents if they can't send their kids to the public schools because they're closed, or a liability shield so employers can hire more workers without the fear of getting hit with $1 million lawsuits every time someone gets sick. Those are positive things for the economy. But the good news is Trump doesn't need another massive stimulus, nor does the economy need it, because we've already put so much money into the economy. And right now we just need to get government back, private businesses back to work, and we need to continue to control this virus. And if that happens, I think we'll have a healthy economy in the fall.
The president's executive order did not include a second round of relief checks sent directly to Americans. There is bipartisan support in Congress on this issue. If both sides can come to an agreement on another relief bill, odds are that will be included. And what impact did the first round of checks have, and will round 2 make a significant difference?
You know, I'm not a big fan of the government sending checks to people. I mean, there's no such thing as free money, although Washington thinks they have free money. The only way that the government can give you $1 is to take the dollar away from me. And so these $1,200 checks are, in my opinion, counterproductive. But at least they're not as bad as, paying people not to work as these unemployment insurance checks do. So you make a good point. Look, the Republicans want to do it. The Democrats want to do it. Do it. But Pelosi is basically saying we can't do anything unless you give me my $3 trillion. And of course, Donald Trump was very wise to walk away from the table and saying there's no negotiating with Nancy Pelosi when she wants massive spending that would not help the economy. It would just go to liberal special interest groups like trial lawyers, teachers unions, and government employees.
Steve, thank you for your time as always, sir.
Thank you.
The president's new executive order aims to help the economy, but are they legal? We'll be back with that story right after this.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
I think as a father, it's my job, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Does the president have the power to issue an executive order suspending Social Security payroll taxes? Most likely not. In a new commentary, the Heritage Foundation's Joel Griffith and Adam Michael argue that not only is this weekend's order questionable on the legal front, but also it does very little to help the economy in the long run. For more, we turn now to Joel Griffith, a research fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Hi, Joel.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Well, Joel, you call the payroll tax suspension legally dubious. Why?
Well, the president in an executive order referenced a law, Section 7508A of the Internal Revenue Code, that allows the Treasury Secretary, at the Secretary's discretion, to suspend taxes for those individuals who are affected by a federally declared emergency. Now, we know the entire country, each and every state, has had an emergency declared for COVID-19. The question arises, is each and every taxpayer, all of us, are we all affected by this emergency in a way that would allow the Treasury Secretary to suspend our taxes? Now, we have a lot of precedent that of other past emergencies, wildfires, droughts, floods. This power given to the Treasury Secretary is given in order to make sure that those of us that, let's say we have our house destroyed or we have a flood, that we get a temporary delay in our taxes. To go ahead and say that all of us in this country, the 88% of us, thankfully, that are still employed, are affected by this, that is a very expansive interpretation of the law. This is something that Congress should be deciding rather than anyone within the executive branch.
So, Joel, what's the option to go about achieving the same goal legally? Do you foresee Congress coming to an agreement?
Well, Congress could very easily pass legislation to do a suspension or a holiday. A suspension, by the way, is simply a delay in paying those taxes. That's what the president's executive order did. That's the only power that the Treasury Secretary could even possibly have under this. A holiday would mean that we actually would have a tax forgiveness. We did this during President Obama's administration. And we should add, regardless of whether or not this was done legally through executive order, and I don't believe that it was, it's also not good economic policy. And that's because our contraction right now is not due to normal economic circumstances. It's due to the fact that governors and mayors have shut down entire parts of the economy. The way to recover from COVID-19 economically is to allow people to go back to work. And as we've seen, some states reopen. We saw 9 million jobs created over 3 months. We need more of that to actually bounce back from COVID-19.
All right, Joel Griffith of the Heritage Foundation, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy?
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain. Get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
If you want to be an attorney with a passion for serving people and for excellence, Regent University needs to be high on your list.
Regent's award-winning law school doesn't just create lawyers. We create leaders, judges, prosecutors and defense lawyers, civil litigators, and leaders in government. Ready to become a purpose-driven, practice-ready lawyer? To start your rewarding career, complete the online application, submit your transcripts, and take the law school admissions test by July.
President Trump is doubling down on his views of the importance of faith for his 2020 rival Joe Biden, pointing to policy proposals from the Biden-Sanders Unity Task Force, which includes things like a single-payer health care system in the Green New Deal.
Look at the manifesto that they've come up with, and if you look at their stance on religion and things having to do very importantly with aspects of religion and faith, I don't think a man of deep religion would be agreeing to the Bernie Sanders plan. You take a look at what they have in, and you can't put that into the realm of a religious group of people, I will say that.
CBN News Chief Political Analyst David Brody joins us now for more. Hi, David.
Hey, Ben.
Well, as President Trump doubles down on his attacks on Joe Biden's faith, do you think that opens up the door for more people to question the president's own faith, and do voters even care?
Well, look, I think people are going to question President Trump's faith. They've been doing it ever since he stepped on the national political stage, so I don't think that's going to change at all. But I think what the president's trying to do here is basically point out some of the policy issues as it relates to Joe Biden and what he represents, whether it be more funding, restoring funding for Planned Parenthood, whether it means the Equality Act, which means concerns about religious freedom as it relates to evangelicals in terms of if that Equality Act was passed. And so he's not really voicing all of that. I'm voicing it here to you, but that's basically what he's talking about. In terms of his faith, look, I think the train has left the station. I think people who think he has no faith at all, obviously they're not going to change their mind, and people that love him are going to continue to love him no matter what.
David, Joe Biden has responded saying his faith is at, quote, the core of who he is. Is there a chance for Biden to use this situation to win over faith voters?
Well, sure. I think so. Just like President Obama did, or Barack Obama, candidate Barack Obama did in 2008. Remember, that was coming after George W. Bush and Dick Cheney and waterboarding. And there came Barack Obama talking about better angels and your brother's keeper and all of the biblical compassion lines as well. And so, indeed, you're seeing that again with Joe Biden. I think he's trying to use faith as part of that. And so I think it will be an opportunity. I spoke to Joe Biden during the 2008 campaign, goodness gracious, 12 years ago, and he did talk quite a bit about his faith then, about how it's personal for him. But remember, he says he's personally pro-life because he's a Catholic, but he's politically pro-choice. I'm still trying to understand and square the two. That's something he'll have to be asked if he ever comes out of the basement. Once again, that's not a joke. He's literally in the basement, so we don't want to joke about it. That's where he is.
David, we know that overwhelmingly of white evangelical voters supported Trump back in 2016. If Biden wins over just a fraction of them, what does that mean for President Trump's reelection?
Well, it means President Donald Trump is a one-term president. That's what it means. If Joe Biden can win 17 or 18%, that's the number to watch, Ben, on election night, 17 or 18% of the white evangelical vote, Donald Trump's in big trouble. Why? Because Hillary Clinton won 16% of that vote. Joe Biden's camp is hoping to do, once again, a percentage point or two better, 17, 18%. If they get to 19 or 20%, I mean, Katie, why am I saying Katie? Katie, bar the door or turn out the lights. The party's over. The fat lady's singing, whatever you want to call it. You use the analogy or the quote. The bottom line is it's over for Donald Trump. If Joe Biden is at 19% of white evangelical vote, forget about it.
David, real quick, next week the Democratic National Convention kicks off. What's the plan for engaging people of faith during that event?
Well, there is a Believers for Biden group that will hold some virtual events around the virtual convention. So it's all pretty much virtual. And let's also remember there are a couple key advisors around him of faith that are, in essence, advising Joe Biden, like Leah Doherty, who's a pastor. So there's some folks around him on that. But basically, it's a Believers for Biden, a few events here and there. Not much to speak of.
All right. Thank you, David.
Thanks, Ben.
America has crossed the 5 million mark of confirmed cases of COVID-19, and more than 380,000 of those were children. What's worse, about 100,000 of the cases among kids have come in just the last 2 weeks, according to a new report from the American Academy of Pediatrics. CBS News reports in the month of July alone, more than 25 kids died. However, severe illnesses and death are rare when it comes to young children infected with the virus. And the Mayflower makes its way to the shores of Plymouth for a second time. We'll explain when Faith Nation returns.
I am Regent's first ROTC graduate student.
Meet the pastors who are preaching the gospel in a fresh, fearless way. I'm Roberto Torresadillo. Join me each week for Next Gen Voices. And watch God transform a generation.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
$11 million. That's how much it cost to restore a replica of the ship that brought the Pilgrims right here to America. It took more than 3 years of renovations, but now the boat named the Mayflower II is once again docked in Plymouth Harbor. The 106-foot ship sails on wind power alone, just like the original. And although the vessel is thought to closely resemble the actual Mayflower, it's actually kind of hard to say for sure. No one quite knows what the original looked like when it came to America 400 years ago. Well, that's going to do it for Faith Nation. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.